this is Rick Speed.
Hi, this is Glenn Woods. Did you send me a note off of the Wake Up Wyoming app?
I did, Glenn. How are you doing this
Very
morning?
good, sir. What you got for us?
Well, I wanted to expand a little bit on what Jeff was talking about and some of the things that you hinted around this morning about people driving on these roads when they're closed and getting out in these storms when, it would be better to sit at home.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize what happens when people choose to go out during these events and how it affects our operations in general. And case in point, I was working the storm yesterday here in the Laramie area, particularly around the interstate, and we had a guy from California that had a little Mini Cooper, and he went out on the interstate and he got stuck kind of between exit ramps between the 313 and the 316. And because he went out there, he caused a number of semi-trucks who were also doing this same thing as what he said he was doing, which was simply going out there to see if the road had opened yet. And,
That's about the worst possible reason to go out there.
Absolutely. And you can just imagine a guy in a little Mini Cooper, how far he's going to go when we have, 4-foot snow drifts and so forth. But anyway, so what happened is a plow truck, one of our plows was also stuck in the midst, so that landlocked that vehicle. We had to eventually take wreckers down there and go the wrong way on the interstate just to try and get these people out. And at the same time, because there's only one way to get out of Laramie to Cheyenne, really going east, and that's on I-80, it landlocked the rest of our plow trucks that were trying to go between the sand piles basically in Laramie and go on up the summit and do their thing. So in essence, what happened because of this one individual was we literally landlocked our entire fleet of plow trucks that were trying to keep up with the road because of this one individual's choice. So this cost thousands of dollars to the semi trucks and even that owner to get towed out, because once you're blocking our road, we kind of own you. We're gonna tow you at your expense, period. Which didn't make him too happy either, by the way.
Not at all.
But then what happened is our plow trucks tried to divert through Laramie up Grand Avenue, if you're familiar with that, goes past the university and so forth. And we had a number of locals and people from out of state that were now trying to get around that way, and they were getting stranded all over Grand Avenue in the drifts. Well, the plow trucks aren't very nimble about getting through traffic like that when it's all balled up, and so then they start becoming stuck on Grand Avenue. So my point is that as we try to help inform people of what's the best thing they can do during these events, staying home is a huge deal, because if we can't keep these plow trucks moving, we tie up all of our resources. We become very ineffective. It actually took us, best I can remember yesterday, I think it took us about 4 hours just to get this problem freed up that the guy in the Mini Cooper created before we could get those plows going. Well, by then, you lose even more ground as that storm progressed and continued to dump. Because if we can keep the plows moving, we have a better chance of attempting to keep up with the snowfall as it develops. But once you gridlock us, we're done. And so what I'm talking about applies to everywhere in the state of Wyoming, in every community. Staying at home during those events, not going out just to see how bad it is or whatever your reasons are, all you're doing is inhibiting and prolonging the length of time that's going to take us to actually open up our roadways and get things functional again.
Right. And then if you had a real emergency, like someone has a heart attack in their home, you have all your resources somewhere else. You got to try to get all the way back to help someone who actually is in need.
That's absolutely correct. And it's just incredible. People were leaving their vehicles stuck right in the middle ramps, for instance, in snow. And some of these vehicles were not Mini Coopers. They were actually nice four-wheel drive pickups and things like that. And they were stuck there too. Well, again, what that means is, as I said, these plows aren't actually a very nimble piece of equipment, really. They're great going on straightaways, you might say, or whatever, in the wide open, but they're not like loaders and things that can articulate and, work around tight spaces. So when people stick their vehicles, for example, in the middle of those ramps, well, these are the ramps that the plows are trying to utilize to, get to the main arteries and clear it. And so it just keeps compounding the problem. It's very difficult to get the tow trucks in there because they don't do well in deep snow either. And I think you see my point. It just has a snowballing effect, so to speak. And
no pun intended.
We just really need people's cooperation to help out during these storms and kind of stay off the roadways and allow our cities and local governments and state to get out there and be able to function as efficiently as possible.
Which is why I try to tell people, when you see a weather event like this coming, and boy, do we let you know way in advance that it is coming, you can't say that you didn't know. We were warning you on air, on our apps, all over the place. You were being warned. The two things that you need to know is snacks and Netflix. And just stay home.
That's true.
Yeah, just stay.
Yeah.
I would like to thank you and all the other people that you work with for everything that you do getting out there, because I know people. Did anyone in your area lose power?
I'm not aware of anybody losing power, but I will say that one thing that's really impressive when you actually work in state or local government like I do, it's amazing to me the effort and the dedication, the risk that all of these people put themselves into to keep us functioning as a society and what they're trying to accomplish. My hat's off to them, not really to myself, but to them. They really are dedicated public servants that are out here in the field, and they do a great job. And it's really interesting. We actually had to. It's one of the few times in all the years I've been working this area for about 15 years, and we've never actually had to close off every single ramp around this interstate like we did yesterday. But we actually had to do that just to keep all the looky-loos and whatever off the interstate, so we could try and keep it functional. And looking at today, the plow trucks have done a wonderful job out here. I know that they're working with rotaries and some heavy pieces of equipment on up the summit between Cheyenne and Laramie, and I believe out west as well, trying to bust through drifts and things that the plow trucks just simply can't move. But they are working diligently and very hard to get this open. But around here in Laramie right now, they've got these roads looking really good. So we just get past those real impasses that, the only thing that's going to move it is things like rotary plows and loaders and things of that nature. Then hopefully we'll get functional before long.
For those people who want to look, I would suggest they do what I did. YDOT and other private and public agencies have cameras all over the place. So I was looking at the interstate just by going to YDOT cameras and having a look. I don't need to drive out there in a Mini Cooper. That thing's not heavy enough. I mean, come on. All right. Well, again, thank you for what you do and what everybody else is doing out there. Did you cite the guy besides charging him for going and rescuing him? Does he get cited for anything?
Well, in this particular instance, we did. We were just overwhelmed with problems
Gotcha.
Sometimes you got to pick your battles, but certainly they can be cited and towed, and technically, if you want to, if they're obstinate enough, they might actually end up going to jail too. But
I would like
that's
that.
really not our goal. We really just want to help folks make better decisions. But I'll tell you, when you get those tow bills, when you make those decisions, that's quite a punishment in itself, frankly.
I bet. Well, and then some trooper calls you out on air across the state of Wyoming, and you just feel stupid. So that helps. Thank you for
Glenn,
calling
thank
in.
you for everything you're doing, getting the word out and helping to educate folks on making good choices. It just simply helps out all of us when they do.
Thank you,
and
sir.
we appreciate that.
I appreciate you taking the time today. It's Wake Up Wyoming.